Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Good morning, depending where you're dialing in from. My name is Marcus. I'm Customer Success Manager here at Sendible. And today we're going to be exploring a few topics all around finding and sourcing content which can be shared across your social platforms. I'll be joined today by my colleague Patrick from support team. He'll be on hand to answer any questions that you may have. So please, if you do have any questions, there's a questions tab down in the corner where you can ask your questions. It's just next to the chat tab where you may find some of my colleagues and friends saying hello. So I'll just add a little message here. So feel free to say hello, introduce yourself. For those that have been with us before, you know we like to play some icebreakers. And also, for those that were expecting to see Pete here, unfortunately, Pete isn't online today. So you do get me. I hope that's okay for everyone. Okay, as we'll say, we like to do some icebreakers. So I just want to know, what kind of makes you guys happy? What makes you smile? As you can see, I've gone and got myself a fresh haircut, especially for you all. That's put a smile on my face. I hope it makes you feel good as well. So in the chat, just let me know, what puts a smile on your face. Is it good weather, a bit of self-pampering, a cool movie or book? Let me know. And, sharing is caring. And while those answers come flooding in, I will start to share my screen over here. I'll read some of your answers. Patrick, you have crisp, full air. Yeah, and a warm cup of coffee. I've actually run out of coffee, so I'm a little bit jealous there, but I'll take the haircut. Right, now, you should all be able to see my screen. And today's topics is all going to be about sourcing content. So I've got a few tabs open where we can go and find different content and manage it in different ways. And then we're going to talk about how we can distribute that content, get our sort of saved source content shared out on social media. So the first thing I want to do is just quickly take a step back and then take a look at the clients that I manage. So if I look at my drop down here, you will see I'm in my dashboard, Marcus McCleggan, that's me. And I have 3 clients. I have, hello, Minister, hello, everyone. I have Mr. Dubs. He's into sort of his old school records and music, DJ equipment, etc. I have Point MMA, who are all about mixed martial arts. And I have Hair Force One, which is the barbershop. So I have 3 very different clients that all need varying different pieces of content. So it's my job today to go ahead and source that content and make sure it's available in their dashboards and that we can start to sort of share and advertise content relevant to them. So the way I'm going to do that, one way I'm going to do that is I'm going to search the internet, and I found some stories that may be relevant for my barber or for Mr. Dubs, the record specialist, or for my Point MMA brand. So there's 3 stories that I found on the internet that I wish to share. Now, in order for me to share these stories, I want to first install the Sendible Chrome extension. So I've done a Google search for Sendible Chrome extension. I've found the extension that I want, and I'm just going to add this to my browser. That will do all of the checks. And if I refresh, that will then be available, ready for me to use. Sitting right here. So what that will allow me to do is to head over to my stories, and I can use my Sendible extension to save this content in different areas of my dashboard. So let's take a look at how that works. And we click on Sendible here. And if I'm already logged in to my dashboard, which I am, then it knows that I'm logged in as Marcus McCleggan. Okay. And so therefore it's going to give me the profiles that my dashboard has access to. Okay. And that includes Hair Force One, which is the barbershop that I want to share this story with. And some other options that I have, I could just select my profile and seek approval or publish this post. But I do have some other options where I can click the save button here and either save this as a draft to my dashboard, or I can copy this piece of content to a custom library that if you're on the scale package or above, you'll be able to sort of create and save content in this way. So I have a few saved libraries. One of my libraries is Here Falls One. Okay, so just a bit of a background. As we know, if you have access to that tool under content, you can head over to my content. And these are the libraries that I've created. And one of these libraries is called Here Falls One. And I've actually made my client, Here Falls One, a contributor of this library, which means they'll be able to access any content that I save to that library. So I can go ahead and copy this content directly to my client's library. And this is Andy's. And that would now be saved in that library. Okay, it's saved to the content library, Here Falls One. So I can close my pop-up. If I head back to my dashboard and refresh my library, or head over to the Here Falls One library, then that content is sitting here ready for me to share, edit, etc. And because I've made Here Falls One a contributor to this library, if I switch over to Here Falls One, or if they were to log in themselves, they would have access to that library that's being shared with them, and they would have the same abilities to edit the content. Okay, so they can actually edit that saved piece of content, and they can also share that content as well. And they would have access to their own social profiles. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and create content, make content available across the board. So I have my records shop here, which would be very much relevant for Mr. Dubs. So I may just need to refresh these pages. I hit the Sendible bookmark here. He's pushing back. Okay, let's try my MMA news. There we go. Once again, I've created that library for Point MMA. So I can just take this content here. And remember, you can publish directly from here, but I'm just sourcing my content at the moment. So I'm going to just copy it over to my Point MMA library. Then I can just call it MMA News. And now that's going to be saved to my Point MMA library, which is available in my dashboard and also in the Point MMA dashboard over here. Okay. Hey, Deanne, no worries. Remember, you do get the recording of these sessions afterwards, so you'll be able to catch up on anything that you may have missed. Okay, so that is how I've gone ahead and sourced content from around the web using the Chrome extension. Okay. Now, another area of the dashboard where you can source content from is also within the content area, and it's going to be content suggestions. So depending on which dashboard I'm in, so in this instance, I'm in the Point MMA dashboard, I want to start to create or look for articles and source content for MMA. So I'm going to do a search for MMA here, or I could scroll down and look at my topics, and I can see mixed martial arts actually has its own topic. So I can click the tile here, and now I have access to different articles about MMA from around the web, whether it's YouTube or MMAmania.com. You can see there's different sources where we capture this information from. And if this is a topic that I would like my client to have easy access to, and I know it's already on the splash page, but I can also save this topic over here, and that will get it added to the My Topics. Okay, so I could go ahead and build different topics. So MMA being one, UFC being a big organization. I could also do a manual search for UFC and get that saved as well. So I would have quick access to all of these articles that are behind these topics. I can click on the article if I wanted to learn a bit more. So that will take me to MMAmania.com. I can read the article in full. I can also take the article as it is here and hit the share button, which will allow me to open the compose box and attach this article to any of my social profiles. Now, remember, I'm in the Point MMA dashboard, so I'll have access to the Point MMA social profiles. And I can also take content from suggestions and save the content in full in one of my content libraries. Okay, so we know Point MMA has its own content library, so I can hit these options here and I can save this content. That will load the content up in full. Okay, I can make any edits to the content that I want. I can add some internal tags, like MMA, news, etc. And give my content a title and decide which library it should live in. So in this case, I would want it to be available in the Point MMA library over here. And okay, this is Oliveira versus Makachev. I could just add that as my title over here. Have it added to my library. And then now that's going to be available along with my other news story in that specific library. So I've got both my stories here ready for me to share at any time. Okay, excellent. So another way to source content directly in your dashboard, we're going to stay within content and we're going to head over to RSS feeds. Because as we know, we've gone around the internet looking at different websites, but we can also bring these sort of news sites into our dashboard as well. So if we take a look at, let's say, MMAmania.com. So if I take the URL here, the dashboard, I can add a new feed here. I don't have any feeds yet. So let's hit publication and blogs. And I'm going to try and search for MMAmania.com just via the URL. Hopefully that will work. Excellent. So it's brought back some feeds like all post or fan post. So I want to get the main one here. So I can simply add the feed. If I close this here, now I can see I've got a direct MMA Mania feed coming through to my dashboard where I can once again click to view the full story or share what's coming through here. Okay, so that's what we just had a look at here. And there's further options such as translating the feed, for example. So that's another way of directly adding content to your dashboard. So when my client Point MMA logs in, they can see that they've got a feed already working here. They've got some suggested content saved already, so they can scroll and navigate through. And if they head into their content library, they have their own sort of content libraries, but they've also got one that I've made available, which they can also see the content that lives here, add content directly themselves, and share this content too. Okay, so we've had a look at different ways to source content together and how we can kind of distribute those within the content library. If you're ever in your compose box, you can reference and call for that content by clicking on the book icon here, and you can head directly. You've got your RSS feeds. So if you wanted to directly share one of those MMA Mania posts, you can. You've got the content tab over here where you can filter by your content libraries and then access that saved content as well. So you've got ways to manage that as well. Now, another thing I wanted to show you, let's just quickly switch over to my barbering dashboard here, is the media library that you will see when you are attaching media to your post. We have a media library tab here. So this is another place where you can store content, okay? And depending on your permissions, you can filter and see content by other dashboard users. Now, the way that this works is whenever you upload media or you publish something directly from your dashboard, we will keep a record of that post. So if I just try and add some files here, this will work for me. If not, no worries. I'll just grab some images. So I'm going to sort of drag and drop some images over here. Okay, let's drag a couple more. Bear with me. Sorry, guys. Just add a couple more here. So if I was to sort of manage these 3 images, and let's say I publish these images, or I just save them as a draft, for example, what that action would do is would actually save those images in my media library. So next time I'm in my compose box and I want to attach media, I would never have to re-upload the same images. I can now head to my media library, and then those images that have previously been used by that dashboard are available for me to go and select again. And from here, I can rename these images if I wanted a better naming convention. And then if I've seen duplicates or no longer need these, I can go ahead and rename or delete by taking action. All right, perfect. Let's see if there's anything else we need to go over. Yes, there is actually. There's a few things, so we're not over yet. So another way that you can share your content is by using what we call a share widget. Okay, so if you head over to this URL, this is a way to generate a piece of code that can be added to a website. Let's say that you have some stories that can be shared. So I'll just add this into the chat over here. Excellent. And you can see there's some code here that I could copy and add to my website. And in true Billy Peter fashion, I have a website that's loaded with our share button added. So potentially you could have a blog site that looks a bit like this, where your stories will have the options to share across social media. So if I click share button, it's going to work in a very similar way as the Chrome extension did, where it opens the compose box. It knows that I'm logged in. And from here, I can access my my profiles and everything else that we've been kind of sort of looking at as well. So we can save as a draft, copy to a library, for example, or publish or seek approval. So that's something you can do as well by using the share widget. And if that's something that you're interested in, I have added the link to where you can get the script to get added to your website. Okay, another thing that we look at is going back to the RSS feeds. So if I just head back to RSS feeds, and we had some for Point MMA. Another thing you can do when it comes to distributing your saved and source content is, especially with RSS feeds, we have an option for auto posting. Okay, so because I trust this blog, right, I can create a auto poster from this Point MMA's dashboard, and I can reference my blog and publish to my Point MMA dashboards. So I could go ahead and publish to Facebook, Instagram. I can pick the whole suite if I really wanted to, and I can decide to sort of reference this blog. I think every hour is probably too frequent, but maybe daily, to see if there's any news stories that I can share across my social media channels. And I can decide to publish my stories either directly by selecting scheduled. I could draft them into my dashboard so I can review them before they go live. Or I could add them to one of my queues. So if I had a queue specifically for Point MMA stories, so I could take that action as well. And then you can decide to publish between 1 or 5 of these stories that come through. Set yourself to be alerted once that is triggered. And I could sort of pause my auto poster at any stage as well. And then we've got some advanced options and filters that you can use to kind of really tailor what type of content should be going out. So whether it should be the new post only or any, if you want to post the title and the link, or if you need to include an image, especially if you're posting to Instagram, that would be a very important option to select. How links should be handled, whether posts should be repeated or not, depends on how frequently your blog is posting, and what the sequence should be. So if I'm posting more than one, should it be the newest first, or am I happy for a random order? And then you can prefix and suffix content to this post that goes out. And you can also add filters. So deciding that, okay, only publish something that contains certain keywords, and the reverse, don't publish content that contains certain keywords. So there's lots of options that you can add here. And if you was to enable this, we would put a little blue circle next to your RSS feed to let you know there's an auto poster enabled. And for those that have a sort of set number of profiles, just to let you know that any auto posting that you've got enabled will count as a profile, and you would see it under my profiles here as well. Okay, I think that is all we have time for in today's session. So I'm going to call for Patrick to enter the room and get your questions in. I think we have one question at the moment, but do feel free to get some more in. Patrick, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Yeah, there was a lot to go through there. I hope I've managed to fit everything in.
Yeah, no, it was great. It looks like we only have one question, which says, is there an extension for browsers other than Chrome? At the moment, we just have the Chrome extension. I believe with Safari, there's the bookmarklet, but with those would be the two browsers. But the Chrome extension is really the best thing that we recommend everyone use. It's our most updated, and yeah, that's what we would point you in the direction towards.
Definitely. I think.
Mhm.
No, go ahead. No, I just said, I think we've got Missy typing in the chat, so I just want to make sure I don't miss anything there. Oh, she's just saying she's got to go, but wants to spread her thank you. So thank you, Missy. It was good to see you. And I hope to see you again as well every Thursday. Sorry, Patrick, back to you.
Oh, no problem. The last thing I just wanted to mention was for our users on smaller plans, when setting up an RSS auto poster for one of your RSS feeds, just remember that it does use one of your profile slots, because the RSS auto poster is a very powerful tool that you can use to get your posts scheduled out to your different social sites. So, I mean, you can have it, you got that feed coming in with new information all the time. You can get those posts going out to your accounts. So it does take up a profile slot. Just wanted to make that note. And then Diane says, is it possible to quote tweet with Sendible? If so, how? Not at this time. But we do always love getting your different feature ideas. So if you take a look at, I believe it's ideas.sendible.com.
It is indeed.
That is our new feature portal where you can add in your idea by clicking that submit idea in the top right. If it's already not here under the under consideration section, you're able to add your feedback, how it would be valuable to your business, add your email, and how important that feature is to you. And that goes directly to our product team for you guys, for them to review. And
Awesome.
that's all for me.
Thank you so much. Let's just see if there's anything else coming through. You're welcome. These URLs are helpful. This is our sort of new feedback portal. So please do feel free to jump in. You get to see what we have planned for the future, what's under consideration. And behind each of these cards, you have the ability to sort of open these up and let us know how important these ideas are to you. So if you see anything that's critical for your business, please head over to ideas.sendible.com. Take a look through the tabs. You get to see what we've launched, which is great, but especially under consideration and planned. We do want your feedback. So please take a look through. Let us know how important these are for you. And if there's something you need to see here, as Patrick said, hit the submit idea button. And if it's something that sort of fits our roadmap, then it's something you will end up seeing on the front end, ready to collect more votes. So yeah, please, the more engagement we get in this portal, the better. And we would like to see your ideas come to life. So please use ideas.feedback.com. Ideas.sendible.com. Jesus, sorry. My ideas and my feedback getting confused. Awesome. Thank you, though, Patrick, for highlighting that as well. Anything else in the questions or the chat? No, Deanne's just saying thank you. and I think the chat is quite quiet. Well, guys, listen, I hope you found that quite useful. Do remember we'll be here again next week. Next week, I think we're doing a more overall walkthrough of the platform. So you'll get to join me again and we will talk through as much as we can. Next week will be 45 minutes long. So I hope you don't get bored of seeing my face when we get to literally talk about all things Sendible. But until then, have a great week. Have a great weekend. Speak to you soon. Thanks again, Patrick.
Thanks.
And bye, everyone.